Welcome back. As I record this episode, it's gone from a relatively balmy 54 degrees Fahrenheit down to 41 at the moment, on its way down to teens and single digits here in North Texas. That's 12 and minus 12 and below for my metric friends. Today we're going to talk about a word that had some meanings that surprised me a little bit, and we'll talk about a bold astronomer, some orders and proclamations, a musical performer, a song, and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa. Today we have Daleks from Doctor Who. They hold up a little bit better against the green screen. And let's see what we have today. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for February 19th. February 19th is the 50th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 315 days remaining to the end of the year, 316 in leap years. Today's word is intern. Intern can be a noun or a verb, and in the past it may have been used as an adjective, although that use is currently considered archaic. I was surprised at how many meanings it has, and even though it doesn't seem like they could be related, they sort of are once you consider the etymology. Let's have a look. As a noun, an intern can be a student or a trainee who works, sometimes without pay, to gain practical experience in a profession. For example, one might work as an intern at the local newspaper to gain journalism experience. I know we had interns at the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. And in medicine, an intern is a doctor in training who has recently graduated from medical school and is undergoing supervised practice before full licensure, as in the hospital intern spent long hours shadowing experienced surgeons. As a verb, intern may mean to confine or detain someone, often for political or military reasons, especially during wartime, as in civilians of enemy nationality were interned during the conflict. Another meaning as a verb is to assign someone as an intern in a workplace, as in the company interned several college students during the summer program. The word intern comes to us from French, where it meant to put inside or confine, and Latin before that, where it meant internal or inward. The noun form came from the verb to intern and was later applied to students gaining work experience and medical trainees. First known use as a verb is in the 1870s, referring to the detention of individuals during wartime. First known use as a noun in the medical context to describe a physician in training is in the 1870s, and then more generally to describe gaining work experience in the mid-1900s as it relates to students or recent graduates gaining practical experience. Intern. This is the birthday of Nicolaus Copernicus, born February 19th, 1473, in what was then Royal Prussia, now Poland. He revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos with his heliocentric theory. In 1543, he published On the Revolutions of the Celestial Spheres, wherein he proposed that the Earth and other planets orbit the Sun. This was a vastly different notion from the long-accepted geocentric model, which placed Earth as the universe's center. The heliocentric theory challenged centuries of scientific tradition and theological doctrine. Copernicus himself anticipated resistance. He included a cautious preface suggesting the model was a mathematical tool rather than a depiction of reality. After his death, the theory faced significant opposition, especially from religious authorities. In 1616, the Catholic Church placed his book On the Revolutions of the Celestial Spheres on its index of forbidden books, where it remained until 1835, over 200 years. Prominent figures like Galileo Galilei later defended Copernicus's ideas, facing trials and persecutions of their own, and we certainly have talked about that before. Despite the resistance, Copernicus's heliocentric model laid the groundwork for modern astronomy, influencing scientists like Kepler and Newton. His theory didn't just change how we see the universe, it altered how we understand our place within it. Copernicus lived to the age of 70 and died most likely of a stroke. Nicolaus Copernicus. This is the birthday of singer-songwriter and record producer Smokey Robinson. Born William Robinson Jr. on February 19, 1940 in Detroit, Michigan, his favorite uncle, Uncle Claude, would take him to see cowboy movies as a child. Uncle Claude gave him a cowboy nickname, Smokey Joe, and he loved it so much that whenever one would ask his name, he'd say Smokey Joe. He dropped the Joe part at about age 12 and has been simply Smokey Robinson ever since. His career began at the tender age of 15 in 1955 when he formed the group that would ultimately become the Miracles. Known for such hits as Shop Around, The Tracks of My Tears, and Tears of a Clown, Robinson later became Motown Records vice president and went on to have a successful solo career. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987 and received the Gershwin Prize in 2016 for his contributions to music. Point of interest, Smokey Robinson lived just a few houses down from Aretha Franklin after her family moved to Detroit, so he knew her from about the time she was 5 years old. With the Miracles, he's got some 35 albums and 57 singles, plus 24 albums and 58 singles of his own in a solo career. Looks like Smokey Robinson is still working, turns 85 in 2025. Smokey Robinson. On February 19, 1942, Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, initiating a controversial World War II policy of ordering Japanese Americans into internment camps. And on this date in 1976, Executive Order 9066, which led to the relocation of Japanese Americans to internment camps, was rescinded by President Gerald Ford's Proclamation 4417. Today's song is You've Really Got a Hold on Me by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Written by Smokey Robinson, released in 1962, this one became a top 10 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 and a number 1 R&B single. Robinson wrote the song after being inspired by Sam Cooke's Bring It On Home to Me, and here's yet another song that was intended to be the B-side on the record. A song called Happy Landing was the intended A-side, but You've Really Got a Hold on Me quickly overshadowed its counterpart. It became one of the Miracles' most celebrated tracks and has subsequently been covered by several artists you might have heard of, like the Beatles, Eddie Money, and Mickey Gilley. You've Really Got a Hold on Me also earned a Grammy Hall of Fame award in 1998. You've Really Got a Hold on Me by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Link in the description. Alrighty, as we wrap up today's episode, I want you all to take care of yourselves. Stay warm and safe. Be good to each other. I leave you with a quote from Nicolaus Copernicus, who said, "To know that we know what we know, and to know that we do not know what we do not know, is true knowledge." Nicolaus Copernicus. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That playlist lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page. It's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.